Welcome to Speak On It with Who You With CurtDog.
Welcome to the show. Let's get this party started.
I'm out.
Hopefully, y'all had a great day today.
I'm out.
It wouldn't be allegedly because he was charged.
Welcome to Speak. I'm out. Welcome to Speak. I'm out.
Boy, those must be some good wings.
I'm out. Who You With CurtDog. Welcome to Speak On It, CurtDog. Hopefully, y'all are having a great day today. Had a great weekend. We are back live the first day of Black History Month. And as we come on today, have been an interesting day. Before we get started, I want to welcome everyone on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, D Live as always in the house, and also Anchor.fm. We're recording the show live for them. For you can always go back and listen to the reruns. Today have been a very interesting start of Black History Month as the news come out. At least 14 HBCUs have actually had bomb threats made on them today. So we're gonna hit on that, and I want to know how you feel about it. What if you went to one of the HBCUs, or if you know someone that went to it, but to come out with all these different bomb threats, that tells you the type of society that we're still, as Black people, are dealing with today. The racism that is going on. I know it was this morning when I seen the story, I think it was like 3 or 4, but this evening it's up to 14 different schools. And out of CNN is reporting this, a growing number of historically Black colleges and universities have had to lock down or postpone classes due to bomb threats on the first day of Black History Month. At least 14 HBCUs report bomb threats. Tuesday, at least one of them, Howard University, also have received a bomb threat. Monday, in some instance, local police and sheriff department were responding to the threats. In other cases, campus police was handling the response. U.S. Education Secretary Miguel Cardona called the threats disturbing and said they would not be tolerated. My team will continue to work with students, faculty, and alumni to make sure HBCU universities continue to be a safe place for students to learn. Um, so it's different HBCUs. Jackson State was one of them. Howard um, was another one, and that was actually reported yesterday. Um, I want to say Mississippi, uh, Mississippi Valley State University, Morgan State University, and it's several other ones that have been reported. Alcorn State, Kentucky State University, Fort Valley State University, Xavier University down in New Orleans, University of District of Columbia, Spelman College, and Edward Waters University, Rush College. So all these threats are coming out, and a lot of people is sick to make these type of threats, and it's racist to do these. For the simple fact, you do it on the first day of Black History Month. So you're basically trying to send a message, and that is a sick message to try to send, um, especially to the university and also to the Black community, regardless of who ever made these threats. They need to be held accountable, regardless of who they are or anything like that. This is not a game. You cannot go around making threats like this and feel like um, everything is going to be okay. You will get caught and will be held accountable. Um, you have cost the universities quite a bit of money having to cancel classes, and and the and the stress that you have put on everybody who's involved with these schools. So whoever it is, you will get caught, and when you get caught, you need to get held to the full extent of the law. Um, Welcome to the show, all aboard. Out of out of Miami. Welcome to the show. Thank you for always tuning in, supporting the show. Um, this is a sick individual to make these different threats. I don't know if it's one person or if it's a group of people, but some of the threats came in the middle of the night. I believe um, I seen one school got a threat about three something in the morning. So this is it's really sick. JSU actually received the threat at 4:15 a.m. and only a sick person would do anything like this. Welcome to the show. T-Cal is in the house out of the DFW. Thank you for always tuning in, being a part of the show. Um, so it's just a matter of time before you actually get caught. Whoever this individual is, or whoever it may be, if it's a group of people or whoever, you will get caught. You will get caught, and when you do, you will be held accountable. Um, so that's what I have on that. I want to know how you feel about um, HBCUs actually having the threats that is going out. What if you are alumni of, of these HBCUs, or if you currently go there? We want to know how you feel, and or if you know someone that is attending that school at this time, we would like to know how you feel, and let us know what's going on the campus, because there's a lot of HBCUs which have been doing a lot of great things for years, and now someone come in and do this, try to disrupt their learning, and that's crazy. All the boys said we need to take these threats serious. Those people escalated. Yes, we need to take them serious. Every threat we need to take serious, for the simple fact that some people do threats as a game. They feel like, oh, I can make this threat, nothing gonna happen. But that was kind of like last week we talked about the mother at the school board meeting in Virginia made the threat at the school, and then she called back and apologized. Well, what you said, it was a threat, and you need to be held accountable for it. So yeah, it need to be held, need to be taken serious, because any threat is serious. You don't know where someone mental state is during this time. For the simple fact, we see people get upset because they get cut off, or someone do something crazy. Uh, and next thing you know, we have a shooting going on. So we need to take every threat serious. T Cal said it's so scary. I went to a HBCU and was in a completely different city, and I only knew my roommate. I don't know what I would have done. Yeah, you really don't know. And especially in a time when people are shooting up schools. Um, and with all the school shooting that we had in the past, and then the young lady that made the threat a couple of weeks ago, talking about showing up at the school with all the guns fully loaded, if a child had to wear a mask, yeah, that's the issue. All the boys said if they can play with it, they can one day do it. Yes, they can. Yes, they can. And that's what we need to hold people accountable for. Because if you hold them accountable the first time, it's a good chance they'll think about it. Another person would think about it before they try to do it again. For the simple fact, if you hold them accountable with the proper punishment, that's the problem, because a lot of people get a slap on the wrist and they feel like, oh, he's just going to get probation. I could do it and get probation, or I just get a fine or something. No, you need to hold them accountable for their action. If that's putting them in jail 10 to 20 years, put them in jail for 10 to 20 years. Whatever it takes. For the next person that's paying attention to it, they would not try the same thing. T. Cal said exactly. Um, Hollow Boy said, yep, like those Capitol rioters. You're exactly right. Because each one of them should be held accountable and not getting um, not getting a slap on the wrist, because a lot of them have. We've seen people able to go out of town, out of the country, to Mexico after you've been accused, sir, of trying attacking our capital. And I'm still wondering how Ted Cruz just so happened to be in Cancun at the same time. And that's kind of strange. Then the grandmother, oh, we're gonna give her probation because she's a grandmother. Well, she was a grandmother when she did that action. Then the guy that went on a hunting trip and not supposed to be around guns went on a hunting trip with his family. So stop giving these folks a flap on the wrist and hold them accountable. If there was any other terrorists, they would not have seen the light of day for their action. So yeah, it's crazy. That's kind of like and his name had flipped my mind. The guy here in DFW, where they just arrested him maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, and he went to trial to try to get out. And his ex-wife is speaking out about him, and she was on one of those shows last week talking about he had a tunnel built going from the house through a field to a back road, and had a car waiting over there in case the feds came to arrest him. Had a tunnel built from the house underground. So these are the type of people we dealing with. If you hold them accountable from the beginning, a lot of these action will stop. If you hold policemen accountable for shooting an unarmed person, a lot of this will stop. But as long as you keep slapping them on the wrist, they're going to continue doing what they're doing because they feel like they're untouchable. So yes, hold them accountable. All the boys said, call it getting them some help. Exactly. You need to be able to hold these people accountable. I don't care who you are. You do the crime, you do the time. That's all to it. And most people, they try to justify their action, but it's nothing to call in threats. Calling in threats. I don't understand that. What are you benefiting from it? Of course, we don't want you to go through with the threat, but at the same time, it don't make sense. We all in this together. And to call in all these threats to HBCUs have to be a sick individual. You target only black universities, college and universities. So that's saying a whole bunch. And regardless of whatever color the person is, it's a sick individual and a racist individual, either self-hate or a racist person that just don't like black colleges or don't like black folks, have issue with black folks. So it doesn't make a difference who you are to do something that sick. Um, yes, it is. I agree with you. to terrorists and disrupt people's lives, it's a terror threat. Yes, it is. Hold them accountable. Stop giving these people a slap on the wrist. I don't care who you are. You need to be held accountable. That's all to it. You need to be held accountable. Um, because I just don't understand it. Um, you making threats, it's not gonna even thinking of doing something like that. You're sick. Get help. That's the best thing you can do is get help. I don't care who you are, get help. Because this is it's crazy to even waste your time to go through and make these type of threats or even considering doing anything like this. It's not good. You are a sick individual. You sick. Go back and listen to some of our past shows where we had counselors on. Maybe that can help you. Or get some help from somebody. Um, you can call in tonight. Let us know what your thoughts are, how you feel about this. 972 591 3665. 972 591 3665. As always, please do not block your number. For the simple fact, I won't answer. I get too many spam calls talking about I can lower your insurance or trying to sell some warranty information for the vehicle. So if you block your number, I won't answer. Other than that, you can call in, let me know your thoughts of it, and then we could go from there. So, but it's also some other things going on in the world that we're gonna hit on tonight. Excuse me. Yeah, excuse me. Also, if you're in Texas, North Texas, DFW area, get prepared. We have bad weather hitting our way. So, saying it's supposed to hit tomorrow night to we are under a winter storm watch from tomorrow night 6 p.m. till Thursday night 6 p.m. And we know how I get here in Texas when this take place. I had to go to the store this weekend, and it was a madhouse. I ended up having to go to the store today. Of course, it was another madhouse. I'm like, Lord. But please protect yourself. If the weather get like they say it's gonna get, be safe. If you don't have to get out, don't get out. But if you have to get out, definitely do it. But be safe. Respect the roads, and the roads will respect you. Don't be going out there knowing it's ice on the ground trying to drive 80 miles per hour. It's not going to end well for nobody, and definitely not for you, because that's your life, your insurance, and people around your life. So definitely respect the roads. Um, Also, we briefly hit on this, I guess, last month. Well, it's a new month, but back in December, before we did our Christmas vacation, um, we talked about Peter Spencer out of Virginia. He went on a T-Cal said, I can't call in because I'm at work, but I would love to hear some feedback from others. Yes, I would love to hear that too, how people feel about the bomb threats and at HBCUs. And because you did go to a HBCU, I would like to know how people actually feel about it. For the simple fact, what if you have a child, a cousin, a friend, or the family, or godchild, someone going to HBCUs, and what if their school was one of the ones that was threatened, and they hundreds of miles away. And as a kid, those type of threats can mess with them mentally because they're having to deal with this personally. Yeah, they're on campus, but it's nothing like having your parent there with you to be able to comfort them during times like this. So definitely, if you want to talk about that, call in 972 591 3665 972 591 3665, and we could definitely talk about those and let us know how you feel about it. What are your thoughts about it? And we've seen people make threats here locally at schools, um, at regular high schools, making threats. We've seen kids in the past make threats because they didn't want to take a test in school, and they call in threats. Felt like it would be a great joke to play to keep from having to take that test and not having to go to school, but they always got caught. And if this is the situation in this situation, hey, they need to be held accountable as well. It doesn't make a difference who you are. Doing these type of things is very uh, disrespectful. And then on top of that, all the time and money and resource that is going to go into investigating these cases is going to be very costly, and somebody going to end up having to pay for it. When your taxes go up, you know why, and so they would definitely somebody we would have to end up paying for it because it's going to take a lot of money to investigate these until they get to the bottom of it. Just like uh, as all the board mentioned about the Capitol riot, uh, the invasion on the terrorist attack on Capitol Hill last year. They still spending money because they still making it making arrests, and they're still searching for people. So if you was a part of it, do yourself a favor. Do all of us a favor. Just turn yourself in. Uh, Accept whatever term they give you and go from there. Because right now, a lot of people are still going to court, still being sentenced, some still being arrested. Um, they're going to catch you sooner or later. They are. And it's not going to be good. Now, what I was saying about the guy earlier, and I cannot remember his name, but his ex-wife actually said it was um, she feel like now her life is at risk because of some of his followers. Um, so that's another thing. Um, um, she don't even feel safe in her own house. I'm trying to get his name. If y'all are just not joining us, if we are a live show, sometime we may have to pull up something. So I'm trying to pull it up. Da, 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 da. I'm sorry, I'm trying to pull it up. I wasn't planning on talking about it, but since all the board brought it up, we will talk about it. Okay, here it is. See what is this? I don't want to do that. Oh shoot! I hate when these different website. They want you to pay to uh, read their story. Uh, but it's the founder of Oathkeeper that actually was arrested. I'm trying to get his full name. Da, da, da. I'll find it in just a minute. But TCal said, yeah, on a bigger scale, what do the schools do? You can't house everybody until the threat is checked. That's so true because it's going to be hard to, a lot of things will go into play because you have the kids that is, whether if they're on campus or off campus. Um, and the thing is, if they stand on campus and if it's a threat, you got to remove everybody off campus. And you're going to have to find somewhere for everybody to go. And it's going to be hard to do that. Um, but it'll be very hard to do it with the fact that they have to have somewhere to go. And if you're in a small town, you pretty much gonna have to bus them if they don't have um, if they don't have a vehicle, a transportation to get out of there. So that, and a lot of these threats came in like early in the morning, so a lot of them was still in bed. Then all of a sudden they have to get up and the alerts go off and they gotta rush to try to get dressed, get out. That's a nightmare. So hopefully they do catch the person or people that is involved with this and go from there. But I just had his name. Elmer Stewart Rose the Third out of Granbury. Um, he was arrested by federal law enforcement in Little M on Thursday. This was a couple of weeks ago. And I know he was indicted and co-defendant armed himself and formed quick reaction force team in an effort to disrupt a congressional joint session where officials convened to certify the result of the 2020 presidential election. Now, his ex-wife said that she felt threatened by her life because she spoke out about it, because of his followers, uh, because of the mindset that they have. She really feel threatened by that, and I can't remember which outlet I seen it on, um, but it was want to say it was last Friday when I seen it. But either way, it's not it's not good. It's not good. So, and I think he's gonna remain in jail until his court date, and then they'll go to court and go from there. Um, yeah. Um, T. Cal said it best. Please turn yourself in and save our resources. When you talk about the economy, look how much money we're putting out to still investigate this, and also making arrests, having to travel all over, make arrests, get you back to Washington. Um, that's a lot of money. Just you want to know why the economy messed up? That's why. That's part of it. You're listening to Speak on It, CurtDog. I'm L. CurtDog. You can chat live with us in the chat rooms of like TCal all aboard. You can also call in if you want to talk about the stories tonight. Um, we've mainly been talking about the HBCU's bomb threats that went out today on the first day of Black History. Um, and hopefully they do catch the perpetrators who's making those threats and hold them accountable. I personally feel like um, We should not get them a slap on the wrist. If you do the crime, you do the time. Hold them accountable, regardless of who they are, what their status is, or anything like that. We need to hold these people accountable. Um, but also, I was starting to talk about Peter Spencer. We talked about the story last year before we went on Christmas break um, out of Pittsburgh. Um, he went on was going on a hunting trip with a co-worker, and he was the only black man there. And eventually, he was shot and killed. And now the family is speaking out, saying they call this death a modern day lynching. So, which that's what it sounds like. And then these police department are not investigating these type of cases when it's dealing with people of color. They do not investigate it like they should be. Um, so the story came from the Roots, the family of a Pittsburgh black man who was fatally shot 9 times while on a camping trip a month ago in rural Pennsylvania, has voiced frustration with the handling of their son's death by authority and have called this death a modern day lynching, according to NBC News. Peter Bernardo Spencer, the 29-year-old black man, was shot multiple times on December the 12th at a residence in Rockland Township, Pennsylvania. Spencer was invited on a trip by a former co-worker and was the only black man on the trip. In a press release from Pennsylvania State Police, the 4 individuals who were present at the time of the shooting were questioned and released after consulting with the Venango County District Attorney. This is why relatives Spencer's have voiced frustration because people have been detained, but no one has been charged or arrested. The release also say multiple firearms, ballistic evidence, controlled substance, and other items were seized from the scenes. An autopsy was completed on December the 14th, and the findings are pending to the laboratory result. Investigators are also waiting on ballistic report and plan on interviewing more people as they get more information. This is not good enough for the family of Spencer, which has created multiple GoFundMe accounts to request justice for Peter and assisting with his memorial. On the account created by Peter's fiancee, she wrote, he was the only black individual at the campsite and is being portrayed as the aggressor. The Franklin State Troop Office would not give Peter family nor myself any information regarding this incident. We have been turned away several times while trying to reach out for information regarding what happened. To Layla Spencer, Peter's brother, on another GoFundMe account wrote murder in cold blood and says his murder is a modern day lynching. The deadly shooting happened about 2:30 a.m. and multiple firearm ballistic evidence controlled substance were seized on the scene, police said in a statement on December the 29th. The Department Heritage Affairs section, which responded to hate and bias crime, was notified, police said. Spencer, an immigrant from Jamaica, worked in construction and contracting, said Paul Jubals, the family attorney. Spencer was invited by a former colleague and was the only black man on the camping trip. This was something they would do from time to time. They would go out to the woods together and shoot guns, drink beer, and have a good time, he said. The county coroner said has not released evidence to the private medical examiner for Spencer family. According to NBC News, Peter family want information on his death given to Dr. Sarah Rich, who has investigated at a high-profile case. which has been able to examine Pete about it, but has not been able to look at many photos um, from the employment and none from the coroner and need those autopsy photos before coming to a conclusion. So they not releasing information, which we know how this goes when it comes down to um, black victims. And he went on this trip in good faith that um, it's going to be a regular trip. But for some reason, it was turned around and he was um, ended up killed, shot 9 times. And the police is kind of dragging their feet about investigating this case, which they need to look into it. Um, um, which we've seen this many of times where other black victims have actually um, what appears to be a murder, but they don't want to release any information to the family. The police do not properly investigate it. Um, um, and then the family is left with no question. That's kind of like Lauren Smith Field, um, the Connecticut young lady who, after going on a date last month, uh, her date, who was a white guy, called the police the next morning, said his date is dead, blood coming out her nose, and there was some reports say it was a blood-stained bed, but the police did not question him. And actually, they did not list him as a suspect from the beginning, and they basically um, allowed him to leave. They did not investigate the case, did not take any evidence or any of that. But after going on a date with this man that she met on an app and then turn up dead the next morning, that's kind of strange. Um, but the police didn't feel like he was a suspect or anything like that, and because of that, the two detectives involved in the case was actually put on administrative leave. This was according to yesterday. They was put on administrative leave and are being investigated by the police department internal affairs office, according to the mayor. Disciplinary action may also be taken against Bridgeport Police Detective Kevin Quern and Angel Lawners due to lack of sensitivity to the public and failure to follow police policy in handling of the two cases, according to a statement by Joseph P. Gannon, the city mayor. So, so that's it's a good thing that they are actually taking action against these officers because they did not do their job, but the Connecticut tax money is paying for these officers to investigate these type of things, and it wasn't just Miss Lauren Smith Field, but it was another case that was up there also that people are not really talking about it. And I'm trying to make sure I had this young lady's name right. She was found on the same day that Lauren Smith Field was found. Her name is Brenda Lee Rawls. She was found on the same day, and that's just disturbing that in Bridgeport or any um, police department is not doing their job. Um, so that's um, very disturbing. And thank you, T Cal. Hope you have a great night too. I know you said you got to go back to work. Appreciate you for tuning in. But Brenda Lee Rawls, 53, died on December the 12th in Bridgeport, Connecticut. And the Connecticut office of the chief medical examiner said last week that the cause of death has not yet been determined. Rawls said, family said that on December 11th, she told her she planned to go to the home of a man she was acquainted with who lived not far from her. Her sister, Dr. Rawls Washington, said that they tried to reach her on December the 12th and 13th and could not get a hold of her. NBC News report on December the 14th, the family decided something was wrong, so two of my sisters, my niece, and my niece's boyfriend walked down to the male's house, Washington said. When they asked where Rawls was, the man allegedly said that he can wake her up on December the 12th and that she had died, NBC News reported. Nobody ever notified us that she died, Washington said. We had to do our own investigation and find out where she was. One of Rawls' other sister, um, Angela Rawls Morton, added that the man gave the family Brenda clothes that she had been wearing as well as her shoes. I don't understand why that was left behind, Martin said. Rawls' family told News 12 that they left a series of, for instance, phonetic phone calls to police in which authority allegedly said they couldn't help them. They threatened, they treated my sister Brenda like she was a Jane Doe. Morgan said, like they found her on the side of the road with no identification. They have no respect. Rawls' case was similar to Lauren Smithfield and caused investigators to question both cases. Smithfield was found deceased on the same morning after meeting with a different man that she met on a dating app the night as Rawls. Reports showed that the man she was with noticed there was blood coming out of her nose and she was unresponsive the next morning. She was pronounced dead just before 7 a.m., according to NBC News. Medical examiner ruled last week that her death was accidental due to drugs. The family of both Laurie Smith and Brenda Rawls said that they were not notified by police and alleged investigators were racially insensitive. Two investigators involved in the case were put on administrative leave, according to Bridgeport Mayor Joe Ginnon. So here it is, two cases that they really did not investigate. What's going on, Gabe, by the H-Town, Houston is in the house. Said, what's going on, CurtDog? I'm chilling here for another night. So definitely thank you for always supporting the show. And so that's the situation with Bridgeport, Connecticut. They're not investigating cases like they should be investigating it. Basically, when it comes down to people of color, they just kind of overlook it and keep going. It's really strange how all of this plays a part and going on today. You would think we would have a better system in place, but then some people just don't feel like it's worth dealing with when they're dealing with certain people, or when certain people are victims or suspiciously die, and people feel like, hey, it don't matter, just kind of toss it out. And for them not to notify the family in either case is kind of strange. And then the guy that Rollins met up with. I don't know if he knew who her family was or anything like that, but if that's the case, um, maybe he should have reached out, but he was helpful to the family, and it took the family to try to investigate to find out what's going on. I would assume by reading the story, he didn't know how to get in contact with the family, and which is uh, who knows, as strange individuals. So just like those cops in Bridgeport and anyone else, when you do stuff like that, you should be held accountable. You should not be a public server um, where you're not going to serve everybody because all our tax dollar pay your salary. And they should not be in that position. Oh, excuse me. Um, and then this came out a couple of days ago, but a woman accused of tossing a 10-month-old and a 5-year-old from a bridge is indicted. This out of Louisiana, which is another crazy individual. Mental health is serious. A lot of people don't take it serious, but it is serious. Um, Louisiana woman, mother named Eureka Rochelle Black, has been indicted on murder charge stemming from an incident in which she allegedly threw her 10-month-old baby into a lake along with his 5-year-old brother. The latter survived at the Cross Lake back on September 21st, 2021, but his infant brother didn't. Therefore, on Tuesday, a grand jury indicted Eureka Rochelle Black for second-degree murder and the death of Joshua Black, and attempted second-degree murder for the 5-year-old near-death experience. The 33-year-old suspect faces a life sentence for the second-degree murder charge and 10 to 50 years without parole, probation, suspension of sentence for the attempted second-degree murder. With all that being said, and the things that we have been seeing over the last couple of days with mental health, it's not a good situation because people are struggling. Um, they're struggling with mental health issues, the pandemic. A person can smile in your face and make you feel like they have everything going, even though on the outside they have what appears to be everything going right in the right way that they want it to go in. But on the inside, they are struggling. It's good to always check up on your friends, your loved ones. Um, Even if they say everything is okay, but if you see changes that is going on with the communication, their action, look, reach out to them, ask them if they need to talk. Sometimes you just have to allow the person to talk. Just listen. Sometimes that's all a person want to do is listen and not necessarily make don't want your advice. They just want somebody to vent to. That's why I tell people all the time, hey, if I know you're going through something, if you need a vent, I'm available. Just call me, and I will allow you to vent. I will listen to you. I won't give my opinion unless you want it, but I will listen to you. Mental health is a serious issue during these times. We have people that is we've seen in the news where several people have committed suicide. Famous people that have committed suicide. Now, it's a lot more than famous people that have done it, but we don't hear about the non-famous person that have committed suicide. That's the reason why when we have counselors on the show, we always say, hey, you could get help. And I try to point out all the time, you could get help. If you're struggling with something, go to your HR, ask them about the EAP, Employee Assistance Program. Ask for help. It's free. That's all you have to do is ask for help. The first step of getting help is asking. And find somebody that you can talk to and deal with that's not going to go back and talk about you behind your back. That's why I tell people all the time, whatever you and I discuss, it's between us. I'm not going to go back and put your business out there because if you come into me, you trust me enough to talk with you or listen to you to help you. And by me helping you, and if I go back and put all your business out there, that's making it worse. So what I'm saying to people, check up on your people. Um, call people. Every week I may call people I haven't talked to in a while. Be like, hey, just checking in, seeing how you doing. I know I've been busy, you've been busy, but I want to make sure you're straight. So then I've talked to some people, a childhood friend of mine. Talked with them one time, and they was like, for the last 3 weeks, I've been to a funeral every week, and I'm like, hey, I didn't realize it, but I listened to what they said, how they felt, and they felt better. That doesn't change the fact they've been to a funeral, but they actually was able to vent how they actually felt, which is always good because some people they don't make time for other people. And if you don't make time for other people to help them, at some point you may need that person to listen to you. So definitely, bottom line is get some help. Um, go to your HR, ask about the EAP program. That is very good. Um, I've been taking counselors since 2018, and it's a wonderful thing. I'm not ashamed to say I've been taking counseling because we all need somebody to talk to. We struggle just like everybody else, so definitely get you some counseling. If you are in the DFW area and need counseling, that's in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. If you need to find your good counselor, reach out to me. I can send you to the ones that have been on the show. Um, if they can help you, they can. If they can't, they can refer you to someone else. So that's the good thing about it. And we're trying to set up where we can get counseling on once a month, if not every week. Try to get counselors to come on the show because right now it's a stressful time. You got all the different variants of COVID coming. You have people um, going to work and being exposed because people don't want to follow things, don't want to follow protocol, and that's a stressful time. And then if you are the breadwinner of your house, um, and you mess around and get COVID, that's a lot of stress. And I understand some people um, they have these signs of COVID, have all the symptoms of it, but they still go to work because their family is dependent on them. That's why we need a better health system that can protect people with a pandemic that can actually provide some type of assistance to them during those times. Um, like I said, I was exposed in December, never tested positive, but I had all the symptoms. And after a week and a half, my wife tested positive. Luckily, it was mild for the simple fact that we both been vaccinated, and I know some people still on the fence about getting the vaccine. That's your choice. Um, but one thing to keep in mind is virus hit everybody differently. Everybody differently. And it's not just about you, but you also got to be concerned about your loved ones, people that you're going to be around. So my thing is, I'm going to do what I have to do to protect my family and my loved ones to make sure that I'm in a much better position. That if I do get the virus, it's not a guarantee it won't take me out, but I'm going to do everything I can to protect myself. So that's your choice if you get the vaccine. But when it's all said and done, what about your loved ones? We've seen many stories where people come out on their dying bed begging their family to get the vaccine. And they finally realize when it's too late that, hey, I should have took the vaccine. So definitely make the make your own decision. And also, excuse me, yesterday was the last day to register to vote in Texas, whatever state you're in. Definitely, if you haven't got registered, get registered. If your deadline haven't passed, we have some midterms coming up next month, especially here in Texas. We have the governor race, the attorney general, um, um, who is it? Dan Patrick, Ken Patson, Greg Abbott, Sid Miller, uh, all of them coming up for reelection, as well as the Board of Education coming up for reelection this year. So we need to make sure we show up, not just for the presidential race, but for every election. Every election is important, even though they don't seem like it's important. It's important. So definitely get prepared for that to get out and vote next month as soon as early voting start. Go vote. Don't wait until the election day because you'll come back and be like, "Oh, I got off too late. Something came up." No, get out and vote. Allow your voice to be heard, and that's how you do it. Don't ever put off what you can do today for tomorrow. Um, Other than that, I appreciate everyone for tuning in tonight. We will be back tomorrow night if the good Lord say the same. Until then, peace.